name is Liz Partsch,
And I'm Rachel Wagner,
and welcome to Farm and Dairy's Weekly Rundown.
where we usually talk about what's going on this week, but we're doing things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about coal today. One whole topic for the whole thing. So get ready, guys, to learn about coal if you don't know anything already.
Yeah. And if you're a little confused if you're new, then you won't be confused. But if you're not new and you're like, why are we talking about last week's story? Well, Rachel and I spent all last week at Penn State Ag Progress Days when this story came out. And let's just say I really am passionate about this story. So I kind of may have forced Rachel to let me talk about it and also wanted her to come on the podcast to talk about it with me. So that's why we're talking about the stories last week and not this week. However, you can check out the stories from this week. You're actually going to have to pick up the paper to hear about that. So sorry, guys.
It's about Buffalo,
Buffalo and
not the city.
yeah.
That's all we'll tell you.
Yeah, Buffalo. Yeah. And then, yeah.
And robotics.
And robotics.
And
yeah.
Ag Progress Day coverage, which we might talk more about later. So,
Yeah.
okay. Now,
All right.
Coal.
All right.
What do
Here
you
we
know?
go.
Why are we talking about coal?
Well, because our region is known for coal. And everybody has a connection to coal here, which we're going to learn about later. But I'm going to start by talking about the stories. So I'll start like this. For the first time in his life, Jim Pinero can fish in the Black River in Vittendale, Pennsylvania, a stream that runs alongside the 54-mile-long Ghost Town Trail in Cambria and Indiana counties. Pinero told me he never thought this was possible before. Growing up, he would have to drive out to Bedford and State College to fish, which is at least, 45-minute drive, right? Just to fish. That's because for over a century, like many other streams in Pennsylvania's mining communities, the Blacklick Creek flowed with orange rust-colored water from acid mine drainage, which is a result of coal mining operations. And we'll get into more about that after. But yeah, so this highly acidic water makes it nearly impossible for fish to survive. But thanks to multiple state and local efforts, coal waste removal and acid mine drainage treatment are allowing residents to enjoy a site that many of their ancestors never got to. Like 100 years. That means 100 years of people never got to fish in these streams.
Okay, so why is this happening now?
That's a really good question, actually. You kind of caught me off guard. Why is it happening now? Well, I think there's a big push to revitalize these coal mining communities. We're starting, this has been polluted for so many years, and coal mining isn't becoming as prevalent anymore, but the effects of coal mining and these people not being able to enjoy fully their communities. I think there's also been maybe some investment. And I know the Biden administration, I think there was investment before the Biden administration, so Infrastructure and Jobs Act or whatever. There was a bunch of money for all of West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania for AMD stuff like this. But I just feel like the state, I know the state of Pennsylvania hasn't been investing a lot of money into this. And I think really just private investment, which I'm going to get to right now, actually. So this includes, these efforts include mining company Robindale Energy Service, who has removed 76 coal waste piles across Cambria and 14 other Western Pennsylvania communities since it was founded in 2001. And they've restored 1,740 acres throughout the state.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. And now a recently built Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection Agency acid mine drainage active treatment facility is accelerating restoration efforts in the Blacklick Creek, leading a return to aquatic life.
Nice.
So we're going to dive into each one of those parts about what Robindale is doing and what the DEP is doing, because they're both doing like big things that have
in tandem,
together, that have worked together, that have made the Blacklick Creek possible, like this restoration in the Blacklick Creek possible. But I'm going to give you some background for a little bit about Pennsylvania and acid mine drainage. Pennsylvania is home to over 86,000 miles of streams and rivers, second only to Alaska. So wild.
That blew my mind. That still blows my mind. I mean, I've always thought Pennsylvania had a lot of like creeks and stuff.
But like Alaska,
yeah,
it's wild. And yet more than 48,000 miles of these streams are deemed impaired. So that means that
that's not good.
Over half of the water we have in this state is impaired. And impaired means they don't meet water quality standards. So this can be, it's not just acid mine drainage, it could be like agriculture pollution, like all different types of pollution.
Like urban runoff.
Stuff
from your industrial.
Yeah. So, but I will say acid mine drainage is one of the leading causes of impairment, including 5,670 miles of streams in this state. So, yeah. So acid mine drainage, what is it? If you don't know, or like I knew what it is, but maybe its explanation might kind of help you piece together what it really is. So it's water polluted by mining operations when surface water and air come into contact with sulfur-bearing rocks. Cool. A chemical reaction occurs resulting in sulfuric acid. These fluids are highly toxic and may have harmful effects on humans, animals, and plants. And that's according to the federal EPA. Yeah. So the majority of AMD is caused by underground mines because this water the water in the coal mines essentially found the first available surface location to discharge. And usually that tends to be along a stream because that's the lowest surface elevation. So they just find the lowest possible point, this water that's in these mines to discharge into. And that's according to John Smoyer. He's the AMD Division Program Manager for the DEP's Bureau of Abandoned Mine Reclamation. But even before these mines were abandoned, the water was already polluted, as we've known, 100 years. This water's been polluted for years. And that's because, and I actually I'm going to read off his quote because I just found it really just made sense to me. He said, "In the heart of our industrial revolution, our streams were the mechanisms to carry their waste away," Smoller said. "These companies weren't worried about preserving streams for recreation, fishing, anything else. It was, that would carry my garbage and bad water and everything else away." And that's pretty evident throughout the whole region. I mean, think about Cuyahoga, is that how you say it? Cuyahoga. Even nowadays, you can probably make the same argument with all the industries that are still on the Ohio River. So this is like long held belief. This is not new.
Like if we can just put the stuff in the river or in the creek or in the stream, and as long as it's not near us because it's going to go away, then it's not our problem.
Yeah.
So if it's not our problem, then we don't need to think about it anymore.
Yeah,
Who
it's
cares
gone.
about the people downstream?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is not great, but I can see why they thought that. But
yeah,
not great
now we
long-term
know
strategy.
better. But yeah, and then also, so we've already established underground mines is a big problem, but also coal waste is a contributing factor of this pollution, which makes cleaning both extremely important. So we're going to start by talking about the coal waste in Robindale. So known by a variety of names, bony piles, gob piles, spore piles. I like to call them bony piles. Rachel and I have talked a lot about this.
Yeah, we call them spoil piles.
Yeah.
Spoil piles.
Yeah.
Sorry. And I met someone in college. I went to college in Clarion, and they called them spillies up there.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if that's a regional thing or if that was a Jess McFadden thing, but
yeah. Speaking of which, if anybody has a different name that they call them, please comment in the comments what you call a coal waste pile, because I find it interesting. Like, it clearly is regional, what you call them.
And even if it's not like the coal waste, but even just spoil piles is like the overburden from strip mining.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's stuff in there, so
yeah,
let us know.
Yeah, please. But yeah, anyways, it's a byproduct of mining operations. And there are just hundreds of these piles across the state. And they're often found along stream banks, which means that they leach metals into local waterways. That's their biggest problem. Or like, thinking about rain, if it's rain can also leach these metals into the ground in like nearby waterways. But why are they left? Why do we still have them everywhere? Well, that's because before the Surface Mining Control and Reclamation Act of 1977, which is a federal law, coal companies were not required to reclaim mining land and remove bony piles. Yes, so that's why we have all of these bony piles across the state. And if you know Pennsylvania, a lot of this mining was done before 1977.
A lot of it. Like we'd been mining for 100,
probably over a
years.
Century at that point.
Definitely.
So yeah. This is Jim Panero, who is the executive vice president of Robindale Energy Services. He's the guy I mentioned before. And he says that, this doesn't take care of legacy pre-1970s problems. So that's where his company comes in. Robindale cleans up both pre-1970s and actually post-1970s coal waste piles and transports this waste. I use waste in quotes because they transport it to one of their energy plants to be burned as fuel. So they're actually using it to make electricity.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is also part of the reason why they're able to do this, because, you can't just have a company.
They're still making the money.
They're still making money. Yeah, that's how they're able to make money and do all these reclamation things. So this includes, one of these piles includes one of the largest coal waste piles in the state.
This is the one you have a picture of.
This is the one I have a video of. And yeah, if everybody go check out, hopefully by the time this comes out, I will have a video out for you guys can see this, but literally like blew my mind. Yeah. Yeah. And this is in Ebensburg, Pennsylvania. The site used to be owned by Bethlehem Steel Corporation and was 40 million tons before the company began removing it over 25 years ago.
25
over
years ago.
25 years ago.
And it's
That's what I'm
still
saying.
there, right?
And it's still there. And they still, and I asked him, how long do you still have
crazy.
left? He still has like 9 to 10 years left of removing this waste. So
That's
it's
wild.
It's that wild. Yeah. And this is just one of the piles they've done. So reclaiming coal mining sites has also led to partnerships with local conservation groups, including the Cambria County Conservation District, and old friends, including Mark Stockley, who actually grew up in the same town as Pinero and works at the Cambria County Conservation District.
It's kind of funny. They both grew up in the same place and ended up kind of taking two different paths into
like the same thing.
Yeah, kind of into related industries where they're working together now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to really get into their relationship, but like I have some cute stories to share near towards the end of this spiel. But yeah, Stockley told me, and this is really made sense to me as well. We grew up in that northern Cambria part of the county where mostly everybody either had a father or uncle or grandfather working the coal mines or on the farm. Both of his grandfathers and uncles worked in the mines. And that is like true for, you could probably say, anybody in our region, me included, I'm sure you included, coal miners and farmers. Like that's really what it was back in the day. Those were the jobs, it seems. But yeah, so these childhood friends would work together to reclaim a bony pile that sat in Vintondale alongside the Blacklick Creek, which according to Panera has already improved life in the Blacklick. So back in Vintondale, still in Vintondale, the DEP's efforts at the active treatment plant in Vintondale are accelerating reclamation efforts in the Blacklick Creek. So the DEP has been working on plans for this plant for over 20 years.
It's a long time.
It is a long time. And I'm going to tell you why. But first, just a rundown, this treatment plant eliminates discharge from 3 underground coal mines in Indiana and Cambria counties, including the Red Mill Commercial 16 mine, the Vinton 6, and Wirram mines. Combined, these mines were spewing out 2,400 gallons of discharge a minute into the Blacklick Creek. So it was, these mines, all 3 of them were heavily contributing to the pollution in the creek.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So these projects, why they take so long? Because it involves a lot of planning. First, they need to find the mines. Then they have to design how they're going to divert this AMD water to this treatment plant, which often involves pipelines and talking to landowners and getting permission to lay pipeline on their ground. So all of these factors will take a lot of time. So how it works and how they get this water and how they treat this water is from one end, they connected the Red Mill mine discharge to the Vinton 6 mine. So they connected 2 of the mines together through injection wells. So the Red Mill mine discharge was flowed into the Vinton 6 mine. And then from there, 2 vertical turbine pumps push this water up and via pipeline transport it to the active treatment site. Essentially, that's the same thing that happened at the Wirram mine, except for connecting 2 mines. They just pump this water from the Wirram mine up these pipe pumps to the treatment site. From there, the water is collected in a big water tank before air is added, allowing carbon dioxide to escape. Then lime is added to the water to bring up the pH levels and filter out metals by turning them into a solid sludge. So to me, lime really seems to be the secret sauce.
It's a base.
It's the base. It's really what turns...
It's literally a basic. Like on the pH scale, it is a base, which is why you put it in.
Oh.
As a farmer, that's what we use. You can spread lime on fields to bring up the pH if it's getting too acidic.
That is wild, and I didn't know that. That makes... Wow. Thank you, Ray. See, this is why you brought her on the podcast, guys. I knew she would bring so much clarity to my brain.
Yeah.
And to you guys as well.
So it's basic, but in a chemical way.
Well, yeah, and essentially it to me, it seems like the thing, because it turns this metals into sludge so they can separate the sludge from the clean water. So yeah, so that's what happens. The clean water is finally separated from this, and the clean water is transported through a pond and wetland before being returned to the Blacklick Creek. So the plant operates 24/7 and will continue in perpetuity. This is what Smoller said to me. So there's no way to stop acid mine drainage. We're just subject to it, and all we can do is manage and treat it, which is a bit wild because that is essentially...
So these things, this whole thing of them pumping the water from one mine to the other, then up to the treatment facility, it's just that this is how it is. There's no end.
There's no
because water is going to continue flowing into the mines.
Yeah.
From wherever it has started coming from in the beginning, because we disrupted the earth to make the mines.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually did ask him, like,
I almost said a bad word. That's messed up.
it is messed up. But, and I did ask him, like, later, I didn't put in this story, but I asked, like, is it really always going to be a problem? He's like, well, okay, well, 1,000 years from now, this sulfur rock may be used up, and then eventually, it may return to naturally clean creek, but not in our lifetime. Like, in our lifetime, it's not going to be that way. So that's why they're investing in the effort to clean it,
That can feel, it's kind of amazing though that they're doing this, because the amount of time, 1,000 years, like, to think, I mean, that's generations beyond yourself doing this. So the fact that they had I guess, the wherewithal and the thought to start this thing now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just all of that, it can make you feel kind of like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Why should we even start if we're not, if the benefits, we're going to have to just keep doing this thing in perpetuity.
Well, I'll tell you the point, and this is a great
Okay.
way to
Did I
tell
segue?
it. Kind of like accidentally.
But there is a point, and even though we have to do this forever. Okay, so
Yeah.
what's the point?
Well,
So we
there
have
is a
water
point.
quality, right?
So, well, before two other things.
Okay.
So the treatment plant has restored roughly 25 miles of the Blackwood Creek.
That's
So
amazing.
It's yeah. And the DEP plans on conducting a biological survey this month, actually, to assess fish and microinvertebrate populations. So they're really going to get a first assessment, because the plant came online last year. So it's only been on for a year, but this biological survey will give them a little understanding
this
of
is
how
a baseline of how, and then where they
how
go
have things
from here.
improved. Yeah, so far.
Okay. See, I'm coming back up. I'm not feeling as hopeless. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
going.
And so yeah, why does this matter? Like, why invest in something that's going to be needed in perpetuity? Well, before I get into like the sources and their local connections with it, this has really brought back recreation in these coal mining communities. I mean, people were able to fish in the streams finally. Oh, for 100 years of not being able to fish in these streams. And this is just one. Like, we're talking about one stream. Like, there's still creeks all over in Cambria and Indiana counties that are not fishable. But now people have a place to go in their county where they can, fish. Yes. So yeah, people are able to fish in the stream. It's also, it's also opened up recreation through the Ghost Town Trail. So the Ghost Town Trail, it's a 54-mile trail that runs through Ebensburg and Blacklick Creeks. It runs through coal mining communities, Cambria and Indiana counties. And yeah, it's exciting because, there's lots to see on this trail.
And you wrote on it, right?
I did write on it. So I actually reached out to Cliff Kittner. He's the executive director of the Cambria County Conservation and Recreation Authority. And he's really been one of the figureheads that have been spearheading, at least. So there's the 54-mile trail, and then there's a 32-mile loop. And when he got hired, and I think it was 2015, he said, I'm finishing this 32-mile loop. And that has been his work, including another trail called the Path of the Flood Trail. It goes through it literally travels the path. It's a bike trail that travels through the path of the flood, the Great Johnstown Flood in 1889. I won't get into that because I'll really get into it. So the Cambria County Conservation and Recreation Authority have been doing a lot of work on this. Same with Indiana County. Indiana County Parks, I think, is actually the one who started this in 1991. So really, this trail has been going on for years, since like 1991 until like
It's the year I was born.
this year.
For perspective.
Wow.
35 years.
Your entire life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Ghost Town Trail, they've been trying to bring this, and because it's slowly, like, people have been donating like parts of the trail. But yeah, so really excitingly, in April, they finished the 32-mile loop. It took 32 years. They celebrated, and
That's a mile a year. That's not bad.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think there was a lot of bottleneck. He said that a lot of bottlenecks too, because they require a lot of grant funding to do this, and sometimes you don't get the grant funding you need to do a certain part, which really sets things back, or like it takes time to get this grant funding.
Right.
So that was part of it, because they also had to build a lot of like bridges and stuff, and like PennDOT had to get involved. So it was really a really large feat. But it's really fascinating. I got to bike it, and the 32-mile loop, at least. Really cool. And there's a lot to see, like the Eliza furnace. It's one of the best preserved iron furnaces in the state.
That's cool.
Really cool. If that's on the trail, you got to see a coal mining memorial in Vintondale. You get obviously you're traveling on the Blacklick Creek, so you can fish and bike.
Is it pretty?
It's beautiful. Oh my God, it's beautiful. I just like sat there and would just, you could just, there's benches everywhere. You can just sit there and enjoy it. There's also just a lot of like signage and history, and you get to pass through these coal mining communities, and even, get to appreciate what they have there, like the store, the shops and the local restaurants they have, which is another great attraction for communities that have been historically
So this is the why.
underprivileged.
Like this is the point of doing the active acid mine drainage treatment
Yeah.
for 1,000 years. The point is to make a difference in these communities right now through recreation, through
Yeah.
people exploring places they might not have otherwise gone,
It's giving people,
giving people back recreation opportunities
Yeah.
in their own backyard.
exactly that. And
It's
it's
a beautiful
also,
place. It's a beautiful area,
it is a
right?
beautiful area. And it's also bringing people from other areas. Like Cliff was telling me people from Colorado would come and like were fascinated by this trail. Colorado, of all places.
Like the recreation capital of the country. Almost.
Exactly.
Yeah. outdoor
Not that
recreation.
Pennsylvania does Pennsylvania is also an incredibly beautiful state,
different-
but
it's
like
different,
it's
though.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's also bringing people to appreciate some of these towns, I think. So the other part of this that I wanted to briefly mention is that to me, what was really special about this story is that everyone I talked to in this story had just like a personal connection to coal mining. Either like their family members grew up, like were in the mines, or they had memories of playing in acid mine drainage. So, for example, Mark Stockley and Panero told me about how they would have to lie to their mom, or they'd try to lie to their mom about swimming in the creek, but they couldn't because their underwear would be orange from the acid mine drainage. You couldn't lie about that. Even people from the DEP were telling me the exact same thing, and I didn't even tell them about that story. That's how wild it is. And someone from the DEP told me that, you know, during school, people would ride dirt bikes up the bony piles.
Yep.
Yeah. Or, you know, and then it was really cool because Panero specifically was really interesting to me, his story, because he actually found the Ellis Island records from his grandfather coming over from Italy. And when his grandfather came over, he listed the reason for coming as coal mining. And then his father also was a coal miner. And he worked at Bethlehem Steel Corporation. That's why he mined coal. And now Panero is like reclaiming the coal waste that his father,
Like put there.
like he didn't
Kind of.
put it there, but like, you know, that, you know,
So
so
fueled his industry, and now he's doing something else with it.
yeah, in like a different way, like cleaning up the environment.
Yeah.
So it's a really cute full circle moment. And then Mark Stockley also mentioned to me, you know, a lot of people didn't get to experience this. Like a lot of generations past never got to see this. So this is actually a quote that he told me that I thought was really special. He said, "If my father was still alive and he saw trout in the west branch of the Susquehanna River, he would just be amazed. A lot of the older generation thought something like that could never happen. So when you see stuff like that and you see streams coming back that were only viable over 100 years ago and now they are, it's amazing."
That is amazing.
That's
so sweet.
It is really sweet. And so that to me was what made this story so special, because when you get to see older generations and they're amazed and they get to experience something new, the place that they grew up in new for the first time is really special.
Okay, so maybe this is because I have kids, but I also think the kids now who get to play in these creeks will not know that they were ever bad.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of a cool thing. They'll just know that this is a good creek
Mhm.
where there's fish and there's life and there's things happening.
Well, yeah,
Which is also amazing.
Yeah, you bring up a good point because, like, I think is Ryan Farbar. He works for the DEP, like a mining consultant for the DEP, and he had mentioned to me that, you know, growing up, he just thought that was normal. And then he grew up and he started going to other areas and he's like, oh wait, like not everybody plays in Orange Creeks, you know?
Yep. Similar experience I had growing up.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're told, at least I didn't grow up in Cambria, but I grew up in Western Pennsylvania in a little coal mining area right on the border with Ohio. And yeah, some of the creeks ran orange. And you're told, and so there are some reasons that it happens naturally, like iron, minerals, iron being in the ground, wherever like a spring is coming out. So a lot of, you know, you're just told like, oh, there's just a lot of iron in the water and that's why things are orange, which can be true. But there's a different kind of orange that is acid mine. It's like almost fluorescent, how it looks.
It's almost pretty, which is like weird to say out loud.
It is. It's very, just because it's so,
Vibrant.
it's like bizarre looking.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're on another planet and it looks really cool and neat. But then when you learn about it like I did as an adult, like, holy cow. I can't believe we were allowed to like exist around this stuff, or that we were ever allowed to think it was normal. But that's just kind of, you know, back then people just thought, well, this is just how it's going to be now.
So you were also in the same boat of like growing up, this is normal. Like you just didn't think much about it. And then you grew up and you're like, oh, wait, like this is like not good.
Yeah. Same for just a quick little sidebar about the oil and gas industry. My family has a cabin in West Hickory, which is north of Tynesta, up in the mountains in Forest County, Pennsylvania. And so there's a lot of oil and gas activity up there, mostly like old oil. Like you could still see, there's pump jacks everywhere, and there's still a lot of them are still working. But there's also a lot of abandoned ones, and there's pipes going through the woods to link one to another for different companies and stuff. So anyway, we grew up wandering around the woods, my cousins and I, just around all this oil and gas infrastructure. And we were told not to mess with it, mostly because it like wasn't ours to mess with. But also now I'm thinking about like playing in little drainage ponds and things that were near oil wells, and how they would be kind of like have a sheen to them and be kind of like weird and mucky and gross, and smell like oil or production gas, which if you ever like the natural gas that might get piped into your home has like the fake, it's a mercaptan. It's called mercaptan is the scent that they put into it to make it smell like something, so that you know if there's a gas leak. But gas that comes out of the ground, it has a certain smell, which is sort of hard to describe. But once you smell, like once you know it, you know that that's what it is. So anyway, that smell was just kind of a familiar part of outdoor recreation to me growing up, and playing in like these little ponds or waterways or swamps, or like just playing outside in water that probably had oil in it and kind of smelled sludgy like oil. But there's also like salamanders and newts and all kinds of cool stuff. But thinking back to that now, I'm like, oh, that maybe wasn't.
Isn't that wild that like
the things that I was possibly exposed to.
Yeah.
Let's not think too hard about it.
It's also wild, like when you have these conversations, you started thinking about, oh, that one time that I was playing in this with my friends, and it makes you think, because I had that moment the other day, or recently, that like my friends and I, we'd go to some, abandoned places or something. And one of them was, I think, like a coal mining tipple or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously I didn't know then, but we were there, and I remember going up this, like, we thought it was so cool. It was like this black mountain, and you'd walk on it. It was like rocks on this black mountain. It was so cool to us because you were like, what is this? This is crazy. And I still pass it. It's on, what is that? I forget, 48? I don't know. In Finleyville, there's a road, the PA Turnpike. Anyway, I still see that, and it's coal waste pile. And I still see that exact coal waste pile that my friends and I thought it was so cool going to this abandoned tipple that doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, and then I look back and like,
this like weird pile of rocks that is not normal.
Yeah, and then I didn't know what it was, and then like years later, I'm like, oh wait, that was coal waste,
Yeah.
And then taking it even further, Mike. Shout out to Mike. We have to shout out Mike in this episode.
This is our marketing and circulation director here at the Farm and Dairy.
Because Mike came in and he was like, "Oh, guys, I don't think I can come on the podcast. I don't really know much about coal." And then he proceeded to like
tell us several stories about his personal ties to the industry broadly, but like not like he was a coal miner, but just everybody
has a connection, no matter what it is. Like you knew someone,
been touched by it somehow,
or like you grew up in this area where this was normalized. Like everybody has some connection.
Yep.
Which is why we think it's important to, coal mining may not be as prevalent anymore, but like what it left behind and how it impacted people is still pretty prevalent in our region.
In the ways that you may or may not realize. So it's important, I think, for to make those connections. Like for people who don't maybe realize that playing in the orange, like just that these things are bad and not normal. For me, that's really important because growing up around it, it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
And you just deal with it because that's, but to know that maybe things can be different. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be better. Yeah, it's really important. I have one more story to share about coal.
Yeah, do it.
That is not, I realized later, is not normal. So I have two older brothers and an older sister who's much older than me. My two older brothers are 8 and 10 years older than me. And I'm the baby of the family. So 1 year for Christmas, my brothers had been harassing me about being bad and me getting coal. And so on Christmas morning, I checked my stocking and there was coal in like a lump of coal, a rock.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, my mind was blown.
Like Santa hates me.
Yeah. I think I was old enough to realize that a trick had been played on me.
That
And
is
then I
such an
did
older
later
brother thing
find
to do.
Yeah, exactly. Just yeah. And I love my older brothers and my older sister and my siblings and we get along great. But anyway, he got the coal up in the woods around our house growing up because I grew up in a little coal village and it's called Cannelton in Pennsylvania, and they had a certain type of coal called cannel coal, and it was popular for some reason. Um, anyway, to just go up in the woods and find a hunk of coal to prank your sister, I thought that was just like I thought everyone's woods just had, you could just go find some coal in it
Mhm.
laying around that maybe wasn't used or was from a spoil pile or uh, I just thought that was normal. And now I'm like, that's not.
Yeah. No, it's not.
No, you don't just like
Yeah.
go find coal in the woods.
Not most people's brothers aren't able to find coal in the woods to prank their sister that they were bad
Unless it
this
is
year.
more common. And if you want to share any stories like that, we welcome them.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I
just
feel like we could.
things like that make me think back, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was kind of weird,
Yeah.
but still funny.
I always enjoy hearing my dad talk about stuff because he grew up in Cambria County. And like, for example, I've written a lot about like the sugar house we still have on the property. And when he was explaining to me how they built the stove oven, he literally told me that they got all the bricks and like they got all the bricks from an abandoned coal mine. Like that's what they did. They would just scavenge, salvage things from coal mines for their own benefit, and they got like rail beds from railroads near the coal mines.
Hmm.
That is always interesting to me. And then just like I really enjoy talking to people who did grow up during coal mining.
Like your grandma.
My grandma, yeah, she grew up in a patch town, which if people don't know what a patch town is, or a company town, it's essentially that the companies would build houses for these people, and it was a really messed up system, very messed up system, which is why Henry Clay Frick
Wow, he's back.
got it.
You mentioned the flood.
I got
and
to
you didn't
mention. I know Henry Clay Frick, the Johnstown flood, big deal there. But he also had a lot of these company towns were systematically designed to keep these people poor because their paychecks would all go to like, okay, well, you have to pay rent, and then you also have to pay all your company store dues, which included like, oh, you broke your like little saw thing that you have to use or like your little like picker that you have to use in the coal mines. Oh, you have to pay for a new one, and guess what? You're paying for that.
And you have to buy it from us, right?
And you have to buy it from us, and if they wanted money, like actual money instead of like the coal company money, you got less money. So yeah, you were essentially like stuck in this system of poverty. But anyways, my grandma grew up in a coal mining town of Ernfeld, very, very small, still very small. It's actually by South Fork where the Johnstown flood occurred. But yeah, it's wild. But yeah, I just really love talking to her because she tells me about the way she grew up and the things that they had to do. And I find it fascinating. It's so humbling to me talking to her.
So like, what are some examples that stand out in your mind?
Well, so I was telling them in the office earlier, like, for example, obviously part of coal mining was everybody had gardens and grew their own food. So my grandma her family was the same way. And, they had a peach tree and they could never eat the skins off the peaches. So they would they would peel the skins off the peaches because the steel mills were in Johnstown. So that would, create like dust essentially and get on the skins of the peaches. And then same with the coal mining would also create dust. So to this day, I don't think my grandma really eats peaches with skins on. And same with all the food that they had to grow. They had to wash it. Once a week, she told me that they had to wash their curtains. And then,
because they would get like sooty or
they would get sooty. And then they would have to clean them. And
gosh,
yeah.
I wash my curtains like once every 5 years.
And exactly. I don't even remember the
That's
last
not a
time.
thing I think about doing because they don't ever look bad.
Yeah, like you don't have to. And she would tell me like the roads were mud. So that's what she would do when she had to walk to school. And I really got interested in this when she would tell me about her Uncle Nick, who actually became disabled from the coal mines. I don't know how, and that's still something I'm trying to figure out because I find this stuff interesting. But yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, coal mining changed their lives in like a very weird, like tragic kind of way.
Did she think this stuff was normal? Or like this is, I mean, I'm guessing not normal.
Yeah,
Just
I
like
mean,
this is just how it is.
This is just how it is. That's exactly like every time I talk to even like my dad and I ask things like that, he's like, oh, just how it is. No, that's
Yeah.
how I grew up. Like you don't really think about it. That's just like what you had to do. But yeah, so this is like my lesson for everybody to why you should talk to your grandparents because the things that they say are just so incredibly humbling and you think, man, I really had it easy. We really have it easy nowadays. Like, you know, it's crazy to me. And shout out to my grandma if you listen to this. She's the best. And I'm so grateful that she tells me these stories.
Thanks, Liz's grandma.
Yeah, thank you, Grandma Partsch. I won't say her first name because I think she won't want me to say it. But
Okay. We're not going to talk about her first.
yeah, cool. All right, cool. Ha! Okay.
We did it.
We did it. All right. Yeah, this is probably it, guys. Kind of like an abrupt note, but if anybody has any coal mining stories that they would like to share.
Not like you don't have to be in a coal, but just growing up in a community like that, or stories you've heard from old timers, or just any way you have been connected to the industry without realizing it, or maybe listening to this made you realize.
Got the wheels turning, the gears turning. That's what happened to Mike earlier because we kept talking about it. He was like, oh, wait, what about this? Oh, wait. You know, that's what kind of happens when you start talking about things. Like memories from the past start to show up.
Yeah, so we want to hear from you.
Yeah, please.
So comment or send us an email or send us a letter if that's what you're into.
Yeah.
Please don't call. I mean, you can call if you want to.
Yeah, I welcome calls. If you want to talk to me about coal mining and all your coal mining
Call
stories.
and ask for Liz, not me.
No, seriously. Like, I actually have an interest and want to learn more about people's experiences in the coal mining.
Okay, you're really asking for it, Liz.
Yeah, I mean, don't go wild. Like, don't try to talk to me for like an hour, but I would really like to hear some stories. You know, I am interested in this, so.
Okay, cool. Get at Liz. You can find our contact information on our website. We're going to make you work for it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, that's all the news for this week, guys. To find this story, this is the paper from last week, you can go online to farmandairy.com.
Yep.
We'll make it easy for you. We're going to have a video promoting this story out by the time this comes out. So,
yep.
And to find the stories that are in this week's paper, you can also go online to farmandairy.com. Yeah.
And find the Buffalo story. It'll be on newsstands.
Yes. Yeah. Check your newsstand because when this comes out.
And Ag Progress Day's coverage about robots.
Yeah. Yeah. All the good stuff. So yeah. Well, that's it, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this weird edition of the Weekly Rundown. Where
I loved this. I actually think we should do it more like this.
Yeah. Let's talk about coal mining every week.
Well, maybe not coal mining, but maybe just like one topic that we can get really, really, really deep into.
Yeah. Well, it's easy when you like have a vested interest in something too.
Sorry, this is just going to be now the old-timey reflections, coal mining and other stuff podcast, like how things used to be. But Liz and I are not old-timers yet, so.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I do have other coal mining ideas in the works, so this will not be the last time we talk about this.
Okay. All right.
So.
And with that, we'll see you next week, guys.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.